Louisiana Legends is made possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. This informative, educational series enables us to discover, through the accomplishments of our fellow Louisianians, the unique character of the state so proudly served by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana for more than 65 years.
Ron Zappe may not be a household name, but his Zapp's potato chips are. For more than 15 years, this tenacious businessman has been selling more than potato chips. Zappe started his career in the oil field supply business. Within a few years, Zappe had 7 companies up and running. But when the slump hit in the early 1980s, he lost 4 of his businesses to bankruptcy in one day. One night, while eating potato chips, Zappe got an idea.
Before I got halfway through the first potato chip, I called these people and expressed an interest in becoming a distributor for them. Of course, I had other business dealings in Louisiana. They said that they couldn't make enough of them for their particular market, and that the only way that they'd entertain an idea is if I wanted to go out on my own.
First, Zappe had to raise the startup money. After being turned down 11 straight times by banks in South Louisiana, the Bank of St. John's in economically strapped Gramercy said yes. There was only one catch. Zappe would have to locate his business in Gramercy. Not a problem for a businessman with the determination of Ron Zappe. Zapp's Potato Chips and the Little Chippery in Gramercy now employs approximately 100 people and produces over 50,000 bags of chips per day. Zapp's has even been delivered to the White House and the Vatican. Ron Zappe has been honored with the Louisiana Entrepreneur of the Year Award from the University of New Orleans, with the Small Business Association's Innovation Award, and with the Louisiana Department of Commerce's Lantern Award for contributions to this state's economy. Zappe sells his chips throughout Louisiana, Texas, and the Southeast. And wherever he travels, Zappe doesn't miss a chance to sell Louisiana, her people, and her great food to everyone he meets.
Our guest today has a very unusual name, but not so unusual that you haven't heard it and even bought a product that bears it. I'm with Ron Zappe, who created Zapp's Potato Chips. Well, actually, the Lord did it, didn't he, Ron?
It is. It's a miracle story, Gus.
Where did it start?
Well, it started back in '85. I was in the oil field equipment business and busted out.
Along with about half of Louisiana.
Well, exactly. I was the poster boy for the bust-out bunch.
How many bankruptcies did you have, you told me?
Well, I had, we put 4 companies in bankruptcy in 1 week. In fact, when I went to my high school reunion, I won the fake Rolex for the most bankruptcies.
How'd you snap back from those bankruptcies? To some people, that's a trauma beyond imagination.
And I could understand the trauma. I mean, I could felt the depression myself, but I had an expensive family to feed, and I had to go out and find something to do real quick, and potato chips seemed like it was my calling.
How did you ever? You were born in Texas?
Yeah, I was born in Beaumont.
Beaumont,
right.
Which is about half Louisiana.
It's mostly Louisiana over there. We've been thinking about swapping Shreveport. You've heard that one for Beaumont and Port Arthur. Yeah.
And then y'all moved to Houston, didn't you?
Well, we were in Houston at the time. We had lived back in New Orleans back in the 70s, my wife Ann and I. And
when did it suddenly strike you, Ron, that this word entrepreneur, which was not even in use then, but that you were one of those people who had this energy, this need to, quote, start something?
I don't know. I've always enjoyed starting businesses. I don't have a talent for the painting or the arts or this, that, and the other, but if I've been given a talent, maybe it's starting businesses. But of course, by the same token, maybe it's taking all this many businesses to keep my family going financially. So, but they've all been successful until we hit the energy crunch like everybody else did.
As a native of Lafayette, I'm most appreciative of the story you're telling. That town, of course, suffered horrendously when the oil.
And I had a business over there. In fact, I bought one of the buildings back from myself. It, as a sheriff said at bankruptcy sale, said, "Boy, you buying this back from yourself." Huh?
But it was a better bargain for a penny.
It was.
All right, so you came into Louisiana. Where'd you go when you first came to Louisiana? Going into business, young married man.
Young married man. Well, the first we started out, we had operations in Lafayette and of course in Kenner, New Orleans area. And but then I moved back to Houston, and then in '83, we had when all the oil patch went all to pieces and went into bankruptcy, and was looking for something new to do. And then met some folks in the snack food business, and one of them was leaving that company and starting his own potato chip company. His name was Tim Kennedy by name, from Tacoma, Washington.
Before we get into that, I want you to share a deep secret, which I had to drag out of him in a pre-interview. Where'd you go to school?
Now you would have to do that.
I had to
here.
do it. Not you ducked.
That's it. Well, I'm an Aggie.
He whispered.
I'm an Aggie. But so is everybody at LSU. There, you see across the top, Agricultural Mechanical College of Louisiana. They're my fellow Aggies. They don't admit it, but they are.
Ronnie, how did an old boy out of the oil fields ever hear of potato chips? And by hear of them, we all eat potato chips. But how did you ever even begin to consider, hey, there might be something there more than potato chips?
Well, my wife brought home a bag of them from another part of the country. We're living in Texas, and I thought, well, these are great. I'd like to just be a distributor for them. And they said, man, we can't make enough for ourselves. Forget it. And I thought, uh-oh, bingo.
That old bell went off.
Yeah. Then I just, those bells do go off, unfortunately, in my mind. Something represents a great opportunity. And so I got with one of the folks that was leaving the company. His name was Tim Kennedy, starting his own, and we swapped technology. I helped him with the doctors and the lawyers and the business plans. He helped me with the potato chip side of the business. We both launched at the same time, owned up 5% in each other.
Tell us about that very first day that Zapp's potato chips began to manufacture.
Well, it was a good day and a bad day. It was July 1, 1985, 15 years ago. And I was taking pictures of the first batch of potatoes coming out. And there was potatoes stuck in the door of the peeler. And so I reached in there to pull them out. Well, the door slammed shut. I ended up in a cast for 6 months. They got these signs on the wall.
Safety signs.
Yeah, safety signs.
Bragging.
Bragging sign. 3,000 hours, 3,000 days without a lost time injury. They had one they put up on the wall that says 15 seconds without a lost time injury. They said there's a little bit of Ron in every bag of Zapps that first day.
So, okay, out come these potato chips, and you have just the best God-given name to put on any kind of product.
Isn't that a great name?
Yeah,
for that?
it really is. How'd the business go initially?
Well, it's July 1. We made the first potato chip. It was right before the 4th of July. So the local stores allowed us to put them in. And there was a lot of curiosity about us because we had a lot of great PR because we were hiring people. And at the time, we had 20% unemployment in St. James Parish. So the news was interested in the story, and so we had a lot of great publicity about us. Somebody was hiring. And so people tried them, and they liked them. And it got to be a word-of-mouth situation.
That name,
the name, and, and I think we make a better potato chip than the other folks do.
There are other potato chips? You've told me something I had no idea.
There is others out there. I've heard of them before. I can't
You've never
repeat
seen them.
I've just listened to a rumor about other chip companies.
So you have a modest operation, but you had an ace card. Timing, that is, in those days, it wasn't a big deal to get on a shelf in a grocery store.
Which is very difficult to do now. There's one of the great advantages in South Louisiana, or Louisiana for that matter, there's a lot of mom and pop stores. You go into some other parts of the country, the Houstons or the Atlantas or whatever, and it's all big chains. But here, a lot of mom and pops, and people do a lot of business with those mom and pops. And so they're, being an entrepreneurial situation, that they give us a chance, and if they sold, great. If not, take them out. But nowadays, people want a lot of money to be on the shelves of stores. There's a lot of real estate going on in business, in grocery stores.
And you're dealing with competitors of international size, aren't you?
Precisely.
Are Louisianans, this is something that interests me, are Louisianans interested, or do we have a loyalty towards Louisiana products?
Beyond belief.
Really?
It really is. Louisiana is very, very loyal to their local products. But it comes with a stipulation. you ought to be pretty good. We eat good here. We make great food. And
there's no way to fake food here.
No, you really
It's either
can't.
got it or it doesn't.
And if we would have made a bad potato chip, we'd have been out of business. But if we make a good one, consistent, and try to use the local spices and such, people are very loyal. And and to this day, we have a very local, very core of our businesses right here.
But you're not just selling in Louisiana, are you?
Well, we're pretty much in the southeast United States, plus Texas, and we ship to, we have a bag in Spanish, we ship to Mexico, we ship to Europe, and we also have a little franchise operation in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. If somebody asked Rio, man, have you seen their Mardi Gras? Have you seen their Mardi Gras down
just
there?
On TV.
That's why Rio.
I love these guys who say we have a little operation and suddenly you're talking about Brazil, so.
Well, it's a franchise. It's a type situation.
Ronnie, so you opened though this potato chip manufacturing plant and you're getting it in mom and pop stores, no big deal. When does it occur to Ron Zappe, hey, I who have tasted the bitter dregs of bankruptcy several times, I just may have something?
About 6 months into the business. It was, when we first started out, we did real well in the local market, but as we started expanding out, and I would go give them away on the street. I built displays in the middle of intersections and gave them to the cars going by. And
you did all that yourself?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But only do that if they got a four-way stop sign, because they'll take your hiney off in the house.
And the potato chips. Ron, so after 6 months, you're in this small plant where in?
The Gramercy, Louisiana. Fauché Chevrolet. We tell people we're the only potato chip plant to give you a lube job while you wait.
How do you get big, though? How does a man take a relatively small operation? How many employees did you have then?
At that point in time, we had less than a dozen.
Okay.
Including myself.
How do you go big?
Well, first of all, if you have a product that people enjoy and will buy, and number one, and number two, you do it with people. I've got the best folks in the world at the plant. I've got a core group of management team that just does it all, and they do it right, and allow me to go out and have fun and try to find new things to do and be on shows like yours.
But you told me that y'all have a unique thing in the manner in which you handle your people. Y'all, it's a pretty good company to work for financially.
Well, I would like to hope so. We have a bonus program that we share with all the key people. All the key personnel in the company, the management team, all have stock in the company. And I would like to think anytime I get onto something new and possibly good that they get to share in that as well. And that's just my basic philosophy. Any business boils down to people.
With my luck, the day you let me have a piece of something, it would be one of those belly-up companies.
That would be the day I'd be getting out.
Ronnie, do you still go to your plant?
Every day. I love the business. I can't hardly wait to get there.
What time do you get there in the morning?
Oh, 8:15, a little earlier sometimes.
And then what time do you get back here to Baton Rouge, where we're taping this?
Where we're taping this up, 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on what's going on at the plant. And of course, I'm out of the office a lot, being in sales or getting involved. I still do a lot of the things at the plant that I really enjoy doing, the engineering.
You still enjoy that?
Oh, absolutely. That's the fun part. That's the advantage of having good people. I can go diddle at other people's business, other parts of the company, be it in sales and distribution and in the plant operations, and they can go and unscramble it after I leave.
Ronnie, the big stores, the giants, the Albertsons and the Winn-Dixies, the big boys of the business. You have people who call on them?
We have sales folks that call on them and our distributors in other parts of the country, be it in the Texas market or the New York market or whatever, they're calling on them. But of course, that's also our job as well, is to call on those folks. And I enjoy
do you do
that.
a lot of that? I was going to ask.
Oh yes, I enjoy doing that sort of thing. I think people like to do business with the owner of a company. They're usually underwhelmed when they get a chance to meet me, but...
Have you ever had someone say, who? What is a Zapp?
Oh, I get that all the time when
Do
you
you
get to other
really?
parts of the country. But the best thing you can do is put it in your mouth. That's what you want to do. Everything and all marketing and all distribution and all PR and advertising is all to that means to that end. It's getting it in their mouth, because I'm going to keep a certain number of those people for customers.
How big is your staff now at your plant in Gramercy?
Well, we have about 100 people, with another about 50 distributors in our core market, which is the southeastern states. And we have distributors, of course, outside of that as well.
Those distributors must be kind of the key to a lot of business.
Distribution is the tough part of any business. It really is. Getting the stores to approve it, getting it into the marketplace, especially a dated product like we have, which we call direct store delivery. That's the milks and the breads and the beers and the
It is a dated product.
It's a dated product, right?
Which
And
means that
if it doesn't sell by that date, then we have to take it out of the store, credit the store, and put fresh merchandise in.
And what do you do with the stuff that's not sold? I know it's not much.
Well, one of the nice things about it, our sales are almost non-existent, but we give them to the food bank. I've always been involved in food bank activities. I've been on the Baton Rouge Food Bank for 3 terms, and we do a lot of promotional tie-ins with them.
You do something else very unusual that I would bet my life a lot of people don't know. You teach.
I enjoy teaching. I'm involved in entrepreneurial programs and have been at both UNO and at LSU, and I get a chance to teach a course a semester and at both locations. I really enjoy doing that. That may be my next career. With the small business experience that I've had, I know I'm not real smart, but I've had a lot of exposure. Now, some of it has stuck.
Do you thank the Lord every night for your enthusiasm and your ability to deal with people, which is as good as I've seen, incidentally?
Well, every day. On the way to the plant, I see it and I think, boy, this is really neat. Thank you.
Now, what do you do in your spare time? And please don't tell me you don't have any, because that would be depressing.
No, a lot of people say that they work hard and play hard. Well, I'm a work hard and play soft guy. My wife and I travel a bit. We have a lot of great circle of friends. I've been involved in a number of different boards in the past, been a Red Cross and Food Bank. And as an Aggie, I'm on the Baton Rouge Junior League board. I don't think they know I'm an Aggie.
Is it true what all these terrible things that people say about Aggies?
Most of them are true. Just that way I don't have to listen to any more jokes. Yeah, I accept all responsibility for all of that.
I bet you do have to listen to a lot of jokes, and you sit there, and no one knows that you're one of them.
I tell you, the sad part of it is I've had people call me from overseas, collect at 3 o'clock in the morning with an Aggie joke, and of course they're a little bit wasted when they call. Yeah, don't call me with any Aggie jokes, please.
What? You have 2 kids.
I have 2 kids. I have a son, Eric, with the National Weather Service. He's a meteorologist. He was been in Lake Charles up until just 2 weeks ago. Now in Jacksonville, I have a daughter who's a CPA and lives in Houston with her husband, Tim. Her name is Kristen, and I have a 2-year-old grandbaby named Matthew. Cute little guy.
Matthew's going to run that business.
That's
my prediction.
I bought Matthew a fire truck the other day, 22,000 pounds. It's a real one.
Wow.
We're going to paint it purple. He likes purple.
Do you
He's
enjoy?
not spoiled.
Do you enjoy LSU football?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're there every game. We have seats. We have 50-yard line. Boom, right down the middle. I've got better seats that I sit with my knees and Vetter's back.
Let me ask you a question. If a young man or woman came to Ron Zappe, who is an incredible success because not only talent, but never giving up. That really is the
That's
key
it. Never
to
give
you.
up. Never give up.
And they said, I want to go into business. I want to do something. I've just got that. What would you counsel them today?
The first thing I would tell them to do is take an accounting course, because so many business people just don't understand books. And all businesses are the same when it comes to the books, the assets, liabilities, and the balance sheets and all that. So take a course in accounting so you can understand that. Just because you have money in the bank does not mean you're making a profit. So that's number one. Number two, I would think that they need to spend some time with a business review. Put it all on paper. If you've got partners in a business, write down your agreements with each other, and it kind of grows from there. It's business is very, very complicated and just takes a huge amount of energy. And if you don't feel like you can devote the time and energy to it, and stay focused. That's the other thing.
Do you handle worry well? Or you might not have any. worry?
Yeah, I've learned. I've been self-employed. Started my first business. I hate to say how long ago, but I was 26 years old, 31 years ago, 57 now, and you have to learn to be able to sleep. You have to turn it off at night.
You almost ran for lieutenant governor.
Oh, you heard
Would you tell us that story?
Well, that was going to be a promotional.
This is a first.
This was going to be a promotional idea. This is the fun part we were going to do is run for lieutenant governor. But we did some studies, and the name recognition scared us because it had a chance of winning. But the idea was to get halfway through the campaign and withdraw with the statement that the state needs good potato chips more than it needs another bad politician. But Melinda Schwagman decided to run, and I needed shelf space in the Schwagmans.
You were not about to take on the Schwagmans.
I was not about to go up against the Schwagmans on this.
Are the big national companies in your field, in potato chips, and I'm not going to say their names.
Yeah.
His jaw clenched if y'all don't think he's competitive.
Lock's right here.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Are they real competitive?
They're extremely competitive.
They are.
They really are. But they're competitive, and they're very, very good at what they do. And I admire them a great deal. I would just like to be more like them. I wished I had their kind of budget on advertising and marketing because I could go toe-to-toe with them. But I don't. I can make a real good potato chip, or I can make a mediocre potato chip like I think they do, forgive me, and spend a lot of money in marketing.
I was waiting for that to be slipped in.
I had to go bum. I
Don't look for any compliments, competitors.
You put them in my sights. I had to take a shot.
You were right. Ron, what is the potential of your company? Are you satisfied where it is? Or?
Well, I think companies, if you're not growing, you become stagnant and you start dying. And so we've had a very healthy, continuing growth, and I want to continue that. I would like to be able to enjoy a better market share in this market. We're going to continue to come out with new products and new flavors, and that's the fun part. We're working habanero flavor. I mean, it's going to have a doctor's warning on the cover. It's still going to be so hot. That sort of thing. We do limited editions, and we kind of keep people's interest that way, and that's a fun thing to do.
Now, folks, when we got here this morning, in Louisiana fashion, the first thing that Ron offered me was a good cup of coffee, and it was good.
Community coffee.
But, amazingly, that's all he offered me. He didn't say, Gus, have a potato chip.
Well, Gus, I would love to offer you a potato chip, and this is, of course, our regular flavor. I don't want to, this being the morning time, I don't want to hurt you with something too hot.
Would I insult everyone if I just take a tiny taste?
Uh-oh, there goes a mic test.
Oh, my God, I'd like the whole bag.
Yeah.
Can I have it?
Yes, you can have that bag, and I bought some for the rest of your crew as well.
Well, you're a delightful man, and incidentally, there's no mystery to why you succeeded. And I'll take Gus Weill's theory for not worth anything. You excelled at something that most of us can't do. Getting off the mat, bloody, beaten up, probably ridiculed. Oh, there's that fool, he's failed again. And you got up off that old mat and came out swinging time after time after. You know who was like that?
Who was that?
Paul Prudhomme, who told me that he went bankrupt, I don't know if it was 10 or 12 times, in restaurants.
Yeah.
And today, of course. So y'all are a special breed.
Well, and I know Paul, and and that's one of the nice things about my job. I've got a chance to meet a lot of really nice people and all the great chefs of Louisiana, and they've been so supportive of us, and I do really appreciate that. We got Emerald Lagasse, of course, who's giving away our chips on his cooking show up in New York City. So, I mean, those are friends out there, and we just like to try to put something back as well.
Well, it's been a great delight being with you today, and like I say, this ability to come back, not to give up, and to be slightly not only a businessman, which you are, but there's nothing wrong with dreaming either.
There's nothing wrong with having fun in your business and trying to make it fun for everybody.
For example, when you were at A&M, you were studying engineering, which you got your degree in.
Right.
If somebody would have told you, man, don't waste your time, you're going to manufacture great potato chips,
I'd say they're crazy. It would, I mean, this is further from anything, but you know, who knows which twist life turns and what you end up doing. And this has been a really fun ride, and I'm not through yet.
I believe that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and eat more chips.
Oh my goodness, in 18 years is the only time we end this show with a commercial.
Absolutely.
What can you do with? You try and stop him, folks.
On LPB, non-commercial, but I got 2 shots in.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you for having me on your
Ron.
show.
We appreciate it, sir.
Louisiana Legends is made possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. This informative, educational series enables us to discover, through the accomplishments of our fellow Louisianians, the unique character of the state so proudly served by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana for more than 65 years.